All right, guys, we're going to continue on with the Leah Freeman case. This is part 4. If you are unfamiliar with this case or you're just tuning in, I encourage you to go back a couple videos and watch part 1 and then come back. And before I go any further, I do want to put a trigger warning because in this part, we are going to talk about what happened the day after up until Leah's body was discovered. So I do understand that there is sensitive information, and if you don't want to hear it, I 1000% can understand that, and feel free to scroll on. I mean no disrespect to anybody. So the next morning, which was June 29th, at about 7:30, 8 a.m. in the morning, Leah's mom, Corey, calls Nick and says, "Where's Leah?" And he's like, "What? She didn't come home? What?" And both of them together go down to the police station to file a missing persons report. And by both their accounts, they did not feel like that the police took them very serious. They just kind of brushed it off like she was a runaway. And then everybody in the community started handing out flyers, including Nick, in the community and in surrounding areas. And then on June 30th, the police asked Nick to come down to the station, that they had some questions for him. And there is audio that is out there that you can actually listen to of that. And he said that he believed that the police were twisting his words. And if you listen to it, they kind of are. You know, he goes on to say that she was a happy girl, happy-go-lucky. I don't remember the exact words, but something to that extent. But then also mentioned that her parents were divorced and that she did battle with some depression. They immediately jumped on that and said, "Oh, I thought you said she was a happy girl." Like, he's like, "What? Wait a minute." So it did sound like the police were kind of reaching for something that wasn't there. At some time that week, they also asked if they could search Nick's car, and he immediately signed his Mustang over to them, no questions asked. But on the other side of that, he was only in that car for, well, majority of the night, but by his own account, from 9 to 12, he was looking for her in the Mustang. And then at 12 is when he went to Kristen's and at some point got into a vehicle at Kristen's and drove around a little bit more. So I'm not sure of how long they were in that other vehicle, but there was another vehicle involved. And then on July 4th, the other shoe belonging to Leah was found. Now let me just show you guys this, who aren't familiar with the area. This is the town of Coquille where she went missing, the very tiny town. Now, if you, up there in the corner where it says Fairview Road, that is the road that leads out of town and up into the rural, mountainy, wooded area, very wooded area. So here's another map here. So up the country road, up to Fairview was where her second shoe was found, and this shoe had blood on it. Now the difference between both shoes was about 10 miles. Here's a close-up picture of her shoe. And so there was blood on the bottom, I believe a little bit on the end of a shoelace and a little bit on maybe the inside. Don't quote me on that, but the DNA that was found on this shoe plays a critical part in the outcome of this case. And then on August 3rd, the body of Leah Freeman was discovered not far from that second shoe. Here's another map showing where the shoe was found in comparison to where her body was found. All right, here is one of the crime scene photos here. And just to give you guys an idea of the area where she was found. And they did say that when she was discovered that her body was in a pretty bad state of decomp. There was that on top of animal activity and the weather. The weather in that area in the summertime is, could get up to 90 degrees. So yeah, but the police also did say that there was no attempt of covering her body or anything like that. She was simply just down an embankment. Let me show you some pictures of the area to give you an idea. All right, so we're going to go ahead and end it here because at this point, after her body is discovered, the case basically goes cold for about 10 years. No suspects, no leads, no nothing until a new sheriff comes to town. Well, actually a police chief, but he kind of comes and shakes things up and it kind of goes crazy from there. So go ahead and make sure that you like, comment, do all the things, and I'll do a part 5. I also want to say thank you to the folks that have commented and also who have reached out to me privately to share their experiences around this case. It's actually super helpful for me to understand and have better knowledge because I don't know all the facts. I wasn't there. I do live in the area, but yeah, I did not get the opportunity to ever know Leah I don't know either sides. So I will say that if you do have any stories that you would like to share, whether in the comments, if you don't feel comfortable in the comments, you can send me a private message and we will keep it confidential. But I think it's important to get this information back out there and see what, if anything, we can find.